I'm W. Smith, and I wanted to share this because I'm not sure if too many of our people know about this, but it's about the driver's license. All right, I came across some videos about this. I don't know how I came across it to begin with, but anyways, here I am, and I just wanted to share this with you. From what I'm seeing, it seems to be legit. Not just from his, this video, but from other perspectives. That the driver's license is not required for a traveler. Driver's license were required for commercial businesses. If I was hired to draw a wagon for the Amish from one point to the other, I would need a license. For the business aspect, if I was to get into a wreck or whatever, I need to be able to be identified, and my employer needs to be identified, so the billing can go to them. But as far as me hopping into a moped and going from New York State to, I don't know, Indiana, to look at the mounds, I wouldn't need it because I'm just a traveler. So just check this out, right?
A driver's license requirement here in the United States. What is a driver's license? Do you need a driver's license? Is there any law requiring you to have a driver's license? A driver's license is required for one who is conducting commerce on the highways. Now, if you're doing personal travel along the highways, or personal transportation, there's no law saying that you need a driver's license. I'd like to read to you something here from Bouvier's Law Dictionary. One employed in conducting a coach, carriage, wagon, or other vehicle with horses, mules, or other animals. Now that is Bouvier's definition of a driver. There's no mention about personal transportation in there or anything. Now notice under part 3 of that definition, it states that the driver must be of good habits for the journey and possess good skills. Because if he's not, and there's an accident or an injury, the driver and his employers, yes, that's right, I said employers, are responsible. Now, while the definition of driver does change a little bit over the years, there is a U.S. Supreme Court case, Reno v. Condon, which states, the activity licensed by state DMVs and in connection with which individuals must submit personal information to the DMV, the operations of motor vehicles is itself intricately related to interstate commerce. Now that was decided January 12th, 2000. Now, that is specifically what I'm getting at here, folks. There is no need to have a driver's license for personal transportation. There's no need to have a driver's license to operate your vehicle, to go down to the store to get some milk, to go to the bank, to take your kids to school, to go to work every day. There's no requirement. There's no law. It's all done under the color of law. It's all in...
Now, isn't that interesting? The United States is one of the very few countries that work under colorable law, right? I'm actually going to go into that in itself because I've been not learning about that, why we are labeled black, why we are labeled white, why we are labeled the red man, whatever. It's called colorable law, in which the United States identifies us as. That's why when you look into what the Black's Law Dictionary, black does not exist, that you are not a real person, you are actually a fake. So calling ourselves black and Black Lives Matter, they've got to be sitting up in their booths joking while they look down from their skyscrapers and towers and whatever. Hold on, let me explain something, right? Let me explain something. A lot of us out there know that Hebrew Israelites like to be known as, they say that North America is full of Judah, and what the emblem of Judah is the lion. They don't even specify what lion, because to be honest, there's multiple different lions out there, families of lions. I mean, yeah, they like to pull up the African lion, which I kind of find it a little ironic, because they sit there and yell at everybody that is stripped of melanin and call them Esau. If you actually look into a so-called African lion, ones with the blonde manes, he's actually been stripped of his melanin and his testosterone that produces his dark mane, because technically a lion's supposed to have a black mane. And the National Geographic Channel has an article pointing out how female lions actually prefer a lion with a black mane and not the blonde mane. But every time we turn around, we see all these Hebrew Israelites want to put up the lion with the blonde mane. So it's kind of, my own pet peeve, you know what I'm saying? I get irritated over that. But think about this, right? As powerful as a lion is and all this and that, I hate going into these raids because, I mean, really, the tiger is actually a much bigger lion. He stands taller and he's longer than the lion. So, to be called the beast, or the king of the jungle, I mean, just the jungle alone, it should be the tiger, and we're not even talking about bears. Bears are actually the biggest and more destructive of both of them combined. So, but that's besides the point. A lion's enemy, his only enemy that he fears, is a hyena. All right? A hyena's bite is actually more powerful than a lion's. Hyenas will take on lions, all right, and actually win their fights against them. Think about this, right? We got an enemy, that's been hounding us and been ruling over us and giving us definitions, to go by. Oh, Ham is the father of the dark-skinned race, but not the Negro. Well, come to find out, no, he's not. His name, first of all, is Cham. Thank you to Let Us Find the Truth for finding that, and Lex Wilford. I mean, he really explained that to me the other day, to where he put it down to layman's term, So, but getting back to the whole lion and the hyena thing, you have the lion who's supposed to be powerful and all this. So you have the so-called Negro, you know what I'm saying? Here he is, the lion. You have his enemy, you know what I'm saying? And they're ruling over him, and they're laughing at him on everything he does. They come together, hey, we're going to be called Black Lives Matter, you know what I'm saying? Got all these blacks that got their heart and soul into this whole thing, and really come to find out, black doesn't even exist. They've got to be sitting up laughing like a bunch of hyenas over that, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I mean, you look at countless accounts, in times, what you think you get reparation monies, but you're calling yourself, African Americans. No, you need to be going under the guidelines that you are the indigenous Americans. They break the guys lately have been breaking down the whole haplogroups and stuff like that, and come to find out, technically the so-called Caucasian, the so-called, well, I don't like to use white and black and red, but whatever, the white man, he's actually the African. He's actually the African American. You get it? And then he's under our label. That's white. Oh, man. So, just think about that for a moment. Just sit back and just think about the whole lion hyena concept and how the hyena is always laughing. And our enemy, the one that the lions, battle with the most is the hyena. And just think about that for a moment. And I know it has nothing to do with the driver's license, but just think about that, Like they got to be laughing when we're going to the DMVs applying for a license, when we're not doing it for an employer. We're just doing it so we have the freedom to drive our car, or when all along you have the freedom to operate your means of transportation. You just don't know the law. That's what it really comes down to. You don't know the laws. But we know we can name about 6 or 7 rappers. We know about 10 football players, about 20 basketball players we can name. I'm just saying. We can tell you how many chicks we've been bagging, and then how many chicks we got with, and who does what the best. Just saying. We know the useless stuff. We don't know the important stuff, and that's where we've fallen short.
Imply that this is the legal way to do things. Now, understand that there is a difference between lawful and legal. 2 totally different things. Now, understand another very important issue. The DMV is a corporation doing business as the DMV. What they have done is implemented such methods as a driver's license, vehicle registration, and so on, to extort money from the people under color of law. Now, it's quite simple. These methods guarantee profits for the DMV. Why? Because the DMV is a corporation. These are very important things to understand. There is no law obligating you to do these things. Personal travel is a constitutionally guaranteed right. Freedom of movement, mobility, or the right to travel are human rights. Understand that. Human rights, not government given or government granted rights, not corporate granted rights. They are human rights, constitutionally guaranteed to you. Now, contrary to what the system tells you, travel is not a privilege. Operating your vehicle is not a privilege. However, if you are a driver using your vehicle for commerce, then you're required to have a driver's license. If you're using your vehicle to make a profit or for hire on the highways.
Think about this, right? You get into a cab and you're in Cincinnati, Ohio, right? You climb into a cab. The first thing you do is you address the person operating it as what? Driver. Think about that, right? Because he's being paid now. He's providing you the service, and he's being paid to take you from point A to point B. You got NASCAR. What are all those guys called? Drivers. Why? Because they're being employed to race for a team and a team owner or owners, such as Randy Moss, Think about that.
Then you are required to have a driver's license. Now, I'd like to show you a document. This is out of Michigan. This is a document that shows a Let
me see if I can zoom in here. Can't get any clearer than that. I'm sorry.
Constitutional driver's license and what it consists of. Now, if you'd like to read more about this in detail, you can go to the website listed on the screen. Now, understand a very, very important factor here is that drivers are not required to be licensed. Now, understand that. If you're a driver or operating your vehicle for personal use, you're not required to have a license unless you're employed or doing commerce. Licensing cannot be required of a free people. In order to...
So you get that if you get pulled over and you forgot your wallet or your purse and your license is and it's at home or back at your family member's house, whatever, you get the picture, and they write you for not having a license, you better take that right to the court and fight that. And you better make them provide you the documentations that you are being employed to drive your means of your means of transportation. All right, which would require you to have a license. All right, I just want y'all to look into this even more because I've literally just let mine slip, and I've been reading about this because I'm like, all right, if I don't need it, I don't need it because I prefer not to have my information in their databases anyways. And I know what you're going to say, oh, well, they got your information, some sort of way, but hey, whatever I can take away from them helps, right?
To have a driver's license, it requires the surrender of a right in order to comply with the restrictions of the driver's license. Does that sound like a free people? Doesn't sound like free to me. Now, I'd like to read you something from State versus Spokane. The right of...
Let me pause that for a moment so you can read that.
the citizen to travel upon the highway and to transport his property thereon, in the ordinary course of life and business, differs radically and obviously from that of one who makes the highway his place of business for private gain in the running of a stagecoach or omnibus. Now understand that the term driver is a contradistinction to the term traveler. It is very important to understand these terms. A driver is one who is employed in conducting a vehicle. A traveler is one who is on a journey of a personal nature. The system has conveniently segued these things into requiring automobile insurance in order to guarantee.
And check that out. I'm still trying to break down the whole insurance, pyramid, because I'm just now in contact with somebody who's trying to educate me on it, and it's taken bit by bit. But he's explaining that these insurance companies, they're invested in senators, and they're invested, in Congress. That's how big this insurance really pyramid goes. Like he was explaining that they buy off people that's going to represent them and represent these corporations. I can't say too much more about it because outside of better explanations, I'm just going to be popping off at the mouth. So the insurance pyramid, it's real, and it starts to make sense when you got somebody that who's researched it and can break it down. So one of these times I got to get into that.
Profits for the insurance companies. It's very simple. What they have done is required the following. If your vehicle is completely paid off, you still are required to have minimum insurance. No one owns the vehicle but you. It's completely paid off. Even if your vehicle is financed, you're required to have full coverage. Full coverage.
And let me tell you, I really hate that stuff irritates the heck out of me, you know what I'm saying? Because I'll be honest, man, like just to know that they're gonna charge me more because I'm a male versus a female, and they're gonna, the excuses, well, you're more likely to speed. Well, excuse me, going down 219 to 17, that's all I do is see females just blasting by me, and it's like, yeah, me speeding and them not. Okay, that's fair. That's equal rights, right? Whatever, I don't care, just that kind of stuff just irritates me. The way that they're set up, it's just wrong. It really is. I mean, but hey, I'm going to Utah. I'm gonna start raising myself some camels, so I have to put some insurance on that. Yeah, right.
Why? You're just
So all right, yeah. That's basically the end of it. So I'm gonna leave it there. Just check this out and look into it even more. If you're interested. Anyways, have a good night, everyone.